Welcome everybody to Shyhammer Fantasy Battle Reports, and today is going to be my first Age of Sigmar battle report, and it's actually a very fitting game because the first person I played Warhammer Fantasy with was actually Brian, and the first person I'm playing Age of Sigmar with is Brian, so it's very fitting. He brought out his dwarf army. I got my orcs and goblins, of course, and this is honestly like a test game for us. We're both testing the water to see basically what does Age of Sigmar have to offer. Pretty much everything you see on the board here is what I brought. This is supposed to be a small game. We still had, I don't know, a decent amount of units on the board, and we spent a majority of the game just pretty much looking at the rules for our individual cards or war scrolls, whatever. But basically, what he brought to the table here is a unit of like, I don't know, 10 or 15 hammerers here. I brought a rock lava that's hiding behind the building. We're deploying now, by the way. I brought this orc war boss on a wyvern. I could have used him as Azhag the Slaughter, but I just wanted to see like what a generic orc warlord on a wyvern is. Plus, I also have the Azhag the Slaughter model at home, and I just don't feel right proxying it if I have it. You know, so I do got the Arachnarok Spider, 3 trolls. He pulled out a gyrocopter. He has a unit of like 10 to 12 dwarf slayers on this side, and then over on this side he has another unit of 10 to 12 dwarf slayers. Jesus Christ. Besides the trolls, on the left over there I have a unit of 5 savage orc boar boys. I have behind the trolls it's a savage orc shaman. To the right of the trolls is a unit of about like 10 to 15 savage orc boys, and then inside that unit next to that unit is a savage orc war boss, and then there's a black orc war boss there, and that's basically all I brought. He has his guy right here. This is like a dwarf slayer champion dude, not a champion but like a lord level. And then he brought another one right here on the cork that is going to be another dwarf like troll slayer or whatever they're called, demon slayers. And then he nominated this one random guy with the blue pants. That guy's going to be his general, just because it doesn't say who the general has to be, it just says you designate one person as your general. So he designated that one random dude. Yeah, and basically, my general is the guy on top of the wyvern. And if you could see in this picture here, there's one guy who's running up ahead. That's Chickenhead. Even though it's not Chickenhead in Age of Sigmar, it's still Chickenhead. I'm gonna make a Chickenhead war scroll, literally just for him, and it's gonna have the same exact stats he has from 8th edition, and nobody can argue it with me. I'm just gonna say that's the way it is. That's the rule. It's Lord Chickenhead. He still has a 4-up ward. I know there's no ward saves, but he has a 4-up negates mortal wounds. Anyways, as you can see, it's Orcs and Goblins turn 1. I won the roll off, and I'm moving everybody up just as like a wall of green here, except for the rock lava, of course. And there was no hero phase because there was nothing to do on the other side. I obviously couldn't reach him with the Foot of Gork, and that was about it. So I'm going to go into shooting phase. Shooting phase, I used the rock lava into this unit of slayers here. It misses the to hit to wound or whatever, and I tried again because I believe I get a. Actually, I think it's just like a 3-up on if I'm trying to hit a unit of 10 or more. And I still fail. I got a 2. So that was about it for my turn. We're going to go into the dwarves turn 1. He goes ahead and moves up his gyrocopter over here. And again, he didn't have any hero abilities to use. And then he goes and he goes straight into shooting phase. The gyrocopter is going to try to blast a hole through my savage boar boys here. And it blasts. It shoots. It only does 1 wound. And I found out very quickly they have 2 wounds each. That's kind of cool. I think that's kind of cool about cavalry in general. Not only did I get 2 wounds each, the animals actually do a better job at hurting somebody. So that's new. Oh, I believe this is his turn now. Dwarf's turn 2. He's going to go ahead and charge in with Actually, I think it was actually his turn twice. That's what it was. I'm sorry. Really sorry. he got his turn twice. He's gonna go ahead and move. He did like a drive-by onto Chicken Head. That's exactly what it was. He flew over, did something like drop bombs, and then kept moving, and that's what did the 2 wounds. Then he's going to go ahead and charge in with the Dwarf Slayers over here. They all connect in, and not only do they connect in, he like piles in. So when he piles in, first they hit this guy here, but then they start to move around. You'll see in subsequent pictures. We had an argument over here about like what's 3 inches away from Chicken Head. You know what I mean? From the hammer tip to the fin of the thing, the helicopter. But yeah, we ended up just like turning it funny so that way it's further than 3 inches away. As for this fight over here, he like I said, he piles in, he moves everybody closer, and they start to like swarm around, and they're hitting both my war bosses and my savages. He's gonna go ahead and try to wound my black orc boss. He does 3 wounds onto him. He does 2 wounds onto my savage orc boss, and then he kills off 2 of my savages. My savages go piling back. And yeah, it starts to look like this giant jumble mess where they're just standing on top of each other and doing random crap. I'm not a big fan of this. I'm not a big fan of the pile in and just, you know, how everything kind of just looks like chaos. And you look at this picture right here. It's just if Brian actually painted his axes, I couldn't tell who was who. So sure enough, the Savage Orcs still have a ward save, and he did a bunch of wounds to the wards. And I don't even think that's what this is. This is me attacking him, I believe. Killed like 4 of his Slayers. His Slayers get death blows, so they try to attack back. They kill off 2 guys on the hit back. I'm gonna go ahead and use, I think it was Omnibus or Chop Chop, or both maybe. This is my Savage Orc Shaman, or my Black Orc Big Boss. I'm sorry. So he's attacking now, and he does like 2 wounds onto them, and then my Savage Orc War Boss did like another 4 or 5 wounds on his own, and basically that whole unit's gonna. I think they're actually unbreakable. These guys, they don't run away, but it's still I still massacred a good chunk of Slayers. Overall, this is how it looks. I had 2 guys, or I'm sorry, yeah, I think I rolled off on the break test. And after I cleaned up the models, I rolled a 6, which is really bad because I lost 4 guys, so that would have been a 10. So I would normally lose 4 guys, and then I realized I got this icon bearer, which adds 2 to my bravery, so I only lost a couple, like 2 guys less, which isn't bad. I believe it is my turn now. It is my turn, finally. Okay, after he had 2 turns in a row after winning 2 roll-offs. So my Orc War Boss is going to call out the Wog, and basically anybody who's in 12 inches of him gets frenzied, and they can make an extra attack. Okay. By the way, there's like several different abilities of frenzy. One of them is to get an extra attack. One of them is to reroll 1s. One of them is to roll 6s, get an extra attack on a 6. I've noticed they're like, they get frenzy, they get to do this, and it's different in every thing I've read. So that's just my perspective. And then I was reading the Savage Orc War Boss, and that's what this picture is. It just says if he has bone splitters, he could do this. But he has these 2 club things that we just counted as choppas. So whatever, it is what it is. Continuing on with the hero phase, my Savage Orc Shaman does the Foot of Gork, and it rolls off on a 6+. He has nobody to stop it, so I aim it at this unit of hammers here. Okay, the first one, it goes off barely. The first one does 1 mortal wound, so 1 guy dies. So you roll for 4, 5, or 6, just like the original Foot of Gork from 8th edition, and I got a 5. So roll off the D3 again, 2, so just 2 die. Then I go for a 4, 5, or 6 to do it again. I get a 5, get 1. Another one's dead. Alright, I roll for 4, 5, or 6, I get a 6. Do it again, I get 3. 3 guys are dead. Then I roll again, and I get a 2. So he gets bored and he walks away. This is the massacre of the hammerers over here. And there's only like 3 left. As for movement, right here, I'm going to go ahead and move, I believe, yeah, movement then shooting, or shooting then movement, I don't remember. Anyways, I move everybody over here closer to his Slayers on this side, and I move the trolls in closer and Ragnarok closer, of course. Everybody like just moves in just a little bit. I move the Wyvern right in the way of his hero and my unit there. And then now it's shooting phase. Shooting phase, I'm going to go ahead and throw the catapult into the Dwarf Slayers. Kills off 3 of them. Then I have the 4 goblins on top of the Ragnarok shoot with their bows. And they fail to wound anybody. Then I'm going to go ahead and charge. I charge in basically everybody into the Slayers, including Chickenhead and the Boar Boys. Over here I charge in with my boss into his Dwarf Slayer here. And let's see. Yeah, this is just showing you that this is the beginning of combat phase. He has boss choppas. Here's what we were questioning: is basically the Wyvern has horns, claws, and teeth, and then it has barbed venomous tail. Do I get both of those attacks, or do I just get one of those attacks? I think I get both, but we're gonna figure that out anyways. I mean, this is literally a brand new game, so it's just trying to figure out like what did they mean, or what are they trying to do, or because you know. GW writes the worst set of rules ever. It doesn't explain shit, like, ever. So, their descriptions is kind of crap going on right now. Anyways, go ahead and I attack with all the Wyvern attacks. My boss attacks and just destroys that little chumpy guy. And, yeah, he attacks back, but he does 6 wounds because he gets a D6 on there. And he, that was from his death blows. And it basically wounds my Wyvern pretty well. His little Slayer dudes over here kill off my my Black Orc boss, and my Savage Orc boss closes in, and he starts doing he starts killing them off, and he ends up killing off like all 4 of them. They do their death blows back, and they kill him at the same time. So the bloody battle. All I had left over there was the Savages. Over here. He picks off first one of my Boar Boys, my Goblin War Boss. He ends up. There's another one too. My model has a hammer, which was supposed to be a great weapon, right? But over here it looks like you either get a Git Cutter or a Git Slicer. Like, what's the difference? I'm guessing a Cutter is just sword, and I'm assuming the Slicer might be like those moon-shaped blades that the goblins get. I don't know. So I just said he had a slicer because he has a hammer, and it does D3 wounds, does 3 onto his hero over here. His hero goes back, kills off 1 more Boar Boy, and basically think that might be it. No, I think my Boar Boys attack back and they kill off like 4 more guys. So it's a pretty bloody battle over here. This is going to go ahead and start off, I believe, his turn or my turn, I don't remember, but the Boar Chariot's in, the Ragnarok's in. If they got in last turn, I'm sorry for not even taking pictures. They do 2 damage to him, basically, and that's going to stop there. His hammers close in. I think this is the same turn, to be honest. His hammers close in and pile in onto my Wyvern. As you can see over here, they ended up killing off the helicopter. The hammers here basically get into a fight, and I mean, I think this is actually going into combat resolution, to be honest. Combat resolution, my Savages, I believe, stick because of the banner. Over here, his combat here, he loses like 2 more guys, and he only has like the general left. And then we were wondering, because at this moment in time he lost over 2/3 of his army. Does sudden death kick in now, or is sudden death only at the beginning of the game? Because it really doesn't say. I mean, look at the rule right there. It doesn't really say. It just says if one army has 1/3 or more models than the other, the outnumbered player can choose an objective sudden death. So I think he went for assassinate or something like that, and I just chose, assassinate my shaman. It's not going to happen. Anyways, we continued on. He puts on a wound onto my Wyvern boss, and then yeah, that's about it. Over here we're gonna go, I believe this is just going into his turn now. He's just gonna go ahead and pile in with everybody and try to attack. He ends up killing off Chickenhead with his dwarves. He kills off, oh, he has his hero still alive too. They kill off 1 more Savage Orc Boar Boy. My Boar Boy attacks back, or not even, I'm sorry, my Wyvern attacks back, kills off his general. These pictures going back and forth is driving me nuts, by the way. his slayers end up killing off my boar boys. My chariot decides to um, uh, pile in, hit these guys, and then I think it might be my turn. I'm gonna go ahead and try to put a Gork onto his boss, get it off. Doesn't do anything, or does like 1 damage and then gets bored and walks away. Um, Over here, the rock lava shoots and kills off a couple of his dwarves that were still sitting there, and then his trolls, or my trolls, I'm sorry, get in on a charge, and they're attacking his general dude, and or not his general, his hero dude. Chariot kills off the dwarf guy, the slayer. His hero dude does 3 wounds out to my trolls. My trolls attack back, kill him off. He killed it off with a death blow to my troll, and then I rolled too stupid to die, and I got a 4, and basically he's alive. So, more or less, that's how the game went. There wasn't much to it. Like, it was basically get in the middle and just kill each other. Just try to match up your units to see, who would be a better match against each other. Overall, it just comes into dice rolling in the middle. I honestly believe, I understand where GW comes in with this whole Age of Sigmar thing. They're struggling with fantasy. I get it. I'm not going to be totally an atheist. I mean, I am an atheist, but I'm not going to be totally like, this is so stupid, I can't believe they do it. I understand they did it. I understand why. And like, to be honest, 100% honest with you, I think it's cool that they gave no point system for the fact that you get to use models that you normally wouldn't use. Like, I get to use a Azhag the Slaughterer, or even a giant. I never bought a giant because I never felt the need to put it in my army for 300 points or however much it is. But now I would be able to play with it no problem. And it just gives me a purpose to play with models. One of the ones that sticks out the most to me is the Ruggled's Armored Orcs. They were like basically discontinued more or less, where they didn't even have current rules anywhere, but they still sold them. I have a box of them. I never painted them. I was contemplating just making them into black orcs, and now they have a purpose. They actually can be played in a game with Age of Sigmar. But at the same time, the fact that there is no point system, it just kind of I go on rants about it, because it's basically a game made for wallet warriors. It's a game basically made for whoever has a bigger army will win always. You know what I mean? Even if you do sudden death victories, I could always, if I had more money and more time and more models and more paint, I could always outnumber you, and and I could basically always win, even if you do a sudden death victory, because there's so many choices of, like, you get to pick the. He says, I want to assassinate. Well, guess what? You're going to have to assassinate this one guy all the way back here hiding. Or I need to control a piece of terrain. Well, the terrain's over here. There's too many variables to just dominate an opponent as long as you have a bigger army. And I get it. That's what they want, because they want you to buy models. They want you to, it gives me a reason for once in my Warhammer life to get 2 to 3 Arachnaroks, to get a couple giants, to get just boxes and boxes of trolls. And I'm not gonna, I think it's a fun small scale game, and if you could control how many wounds you have, or how many points you have, or how many models you have, I think it would be a lot. It's a lot more even and fun, versus just what can I fit on this board? Because if I could fit, greenskins have so many options and so many choices. You could fill the fucking board. You could probably fill the board with just goblins alone, not even including orcs, not including boar boys, not including 4 or 5 war machines or 8 war machines. Anyways, overall, Brian got a little tipsy because he was drinking during this game, and he had a fun time, and he was like, I don't know if it's the alcohol letting me know that it's fun, or if it was just a fun game. But in all honesty, I'm going to stick to 8th. I'll play a game of Age of Sigmar here and there, and I'll still do my battle report on it, so you guys can see the chaos of bases jumping on top of each other, and massive dice rolls, and me not understanding where the hell the battle report is at the moment, because turns aren't so fluid. But I'm still going to be playing 8th. Hell, we got a Dice Dojo tournament this Saturday, and you'll be seeing those reports come up soon. And then not only that, I have a bunch of 8th videos coming on up. I also have another game of Age of Sigmar against a new player, Dexter, and his Skaven army. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling. So take care. If you haven't, hit the like and subscribe. If you don't like and you do not want to subscribe to my Age of Sigmar video, hit the subscribe anyways. I'll be putting up 8 videos. Anyways, you don't have to like it if you don't like Age of Sigmar. It's cool. I understand. And anyways, guys, next video should be me versus Dan and his high elves. So that'll be fun. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace.